Hello and welcome back to another episode of Epic Proportions. We got a huge one today, lots of things to cover. We have our opinion to toss around, but let's jump right into it, Andy. I'm your host, James, alongside, as always, his name is...
I'm Andy.
We ask you to grab your lightsaber and focus on the Force as we all become Legend of the Nerd. Andy, how are you doing today, pal?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. We got a huge show today. Huge one today. It's all about Star Wars. Got the new movie coming out. It comes out December 18th. It's in a few days from here, right?
Exactly.
That's right, man. That's right. So let's do a quick recap on all the episodes. Like we said, don't really have much time to dawdle, right?
Exactly.
All right, so we're going to start off with the traditional three. Episode 4, which is A New Hope, came out in 1977, right? What do you remember about that movie?
Well, obviously we weren't there. Obviously
We weren't there.
but
Not that old, right?
but I mean, what I remember really is, for a plot for me, is it's one of those movies where we want to introduce first the characters.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like George Lucas already knew we were going to do parts 5 and 6 eventually. They called it 5 and 6. They never were called that originally, obviously. But I really think he just wanted to introduce the cast first to you. He didn't want to make it this huge blowout, but obviously it became one. But we want to introduce Luke and Leia and give that little surprise later on that who is Darth Vader, which we find out being Luke's father. It sets up a great storyline too, because Luke is this, not really an outcast, but living on Tatooine, this really nobody, and turning into this great warrior. First starting off as a soldier, even before a warrior.
Right.
So to me, what I remember mostly is just learning more about each character, because I want to know their backstories, and you get a lot of that.
Mm. So the biggest plot line of this movie would be, what would you say, of this one movie, of New Hope?
God, biggest plot line. I'm trying to remember this. It was a while
Biggest
ago.
plot line is save the princess.
This is true, but I mean, you also...
You think about it, the android came down, Luke finds R2-D2, he has that holograph sign, it says, please Obi-Wan, help us, your only hope. So it turns into finding Obi-Wan, which he thought was his old friend, Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? They find a ship. That's where we meet. Who do we meet?
Meet Han Solo and my favorite, Chewbacca.
But let's stop for just 1 second. I don't want to go big on this, but who shot first?
Who shot first?
Yes.
What do you mean, like, who shot first?
Solo or Greedo in the bar? Who shot first?
Oh, God, you have to go through that?
Of course we do. We always got to go through.
I'm going to say
everybody goes through
the
this.
bad guy shot first, obviously. I mean, who's going to think Han shot first?
I think Han shot first.
It's true, he's a cocky guy. So.
I think he shot first.
And how great, I just want to point out, Harrison Ford playing Han Solo, how great was that casting, though? Because when I envision the character of Han Solo being this kind of cocky guy and I can do anything better than you kind of guy, I can see Harrison Ford, a young Harrison Ford, pulling that character off. And
yeah, he did a great job. The whole cast was good. I mean, with the special effects they had back then and the storytelling, it was an epic movie.
But I thought of this when you're saying the whole storyline is save the princess. Me personally, I think is destroy the Death Star, which they do. I mean, yes, you got to save Leia and stuff.
That was like a side mission.
I know, but you don't do that, there is no sequels.
Yeah.
They're going to destroy everything. That's your main thing.
Yep.
Okay, if Leia dies, whoop-de-doo, but let me kill the...
Whoop-de-doo.
Yes, whoop-de-doo. Let me destroy the Death Star first.
Any other points you want to point out about New Hope? Favorite scene, maybe?
Favorite scene for me really is, besides me saying earlier, Chewbacca, one of my favorite characters. I've totally forgot about this character. My all-time favorite, so let me rephrase that, Chewie is not, is R2-D2. The best part of this whole trilogy or double trilogy with all 6 episodes so far is R2-D2. He's the best character ever. And the favorite part for me is this whole little arguments he has all the time with CP3O.
Yeah.
Those are the funniest scenes, I think, in the entire movie.
It's like a one-sided argument
I
with
mean,
those two.
CP3O talks, but R2D2 just does the beep, 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 beep.
Yep,
But he
yep,
does certain things, like he runs over your foot or something like that, just to insult you. I mean, he even like sprays you with his oil just to get back at you.
Yeah, right.
So it's like he's spitting on you or something like that. So that's the best part for me. But I did come up with my worst part.
A worst part of the
A
movie.
worst
okay.
part. These are great
Alright.
movies, but there is one part that every time I see it, I just can't get over. And that is when Obi-Wan dies. I'm sorry, but he gets a love tap from Vader with the saber.
Get stabbed in the chest.
He like disintegrates. Nothing happens. All of a sudden, you just see the cape go right to the ground.
Because his power has suppressed anything else.
So gets vaporized. We vaporize people now with lightsabers.
I think a little more. I don't consider it vaporized.
I'm sorry, but I think it would have been a more emotional scene, as if you get driven through with the saber and he kind of
His
falls.
spirit kind of entered the higher realms.
It was kind of corny, but this is the
It was
70s.
1977.
This is the 70s we're talking about here, so.
Epic scene for me was so well filmed, so well done with the music and the lighting, was when you find out that Uncle Ben died. You know, you see Skeleton, you see Luke looking at it into the star, like, what am I going to do next? That one scene was just, it was touching, the music was great, it was so well done for me on that one part.
The movie, I think, definitely was way ahead of its time with the
Oh,
special
yeah.
effects.
Oh yeah, it was. Whole storyline's way above its time. It was almost like an epic comic book movie, almost.
Yeah. Like I said, George Lucas, I feel like went into this knowing we don't have to worry about if it's going to make bank and we're going to make 2 more sequels. I think he had a feeling, I'm going with it.
Yeah, he had all his storylines already planned out. He knew exactly what he was doing with this stuff. Least favorite part of the movie? Don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I liked it all. It was a really well done movie for me. Any last touches on this movie?
No, to me, it's not my favorite, but it was a good way to start.
It's not my favorite either, but let's go to my favorite. Up next, we are talking about Episode 5. It came out in theaters in 1980. This was called, excuse me, Empire Strikes Back. And I really thought this movie was great. It's the most epic movie as all of them. You know, it starts off on planet Hoth. You have a little fight with the Empire and the hidden base of the rebels. You know, what was your favorite part of this movie?
Oh,
See how well you remember this movie at all.
I know. Yeah. The older ones are hard for me to remember. Like the very last, episode 6. I'll definitely be able to know more about that.
One of the most touching,
I don't remember.
not touching, but memorable scene is like right in the beginning when you have Luke out in the cold.
Oh, and he cuts
Solo
open.
comes out,
Yes.
grabs his lightsaber, and he cuts open the little beast, and like keeps Luke warm that way.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then like the little abominable snowman basically kidnaps him at the end.
Yep. Kidnaps him. Yep.
Yeah, because that's the epic scene prior to that during the battle. I think it was Luke. He ties up the legs of almost all I can think of is a giant camel that they're in.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah, but he ties them up and it falls down. I mean, they use that scene even in when they were selling toys and stuff like that. I can remember.
Those are the most popular toys. Yeah.
I mean, you just see the kids kind of like twirling it around and everything like that. I mean, it's an epic scene in the beginning of the movie.
It is. Yep. So they're on planet Hoth. They manage to escape. Luke decides that he is going to go find
Yoda.
Yoda,
Yes.
the trainer, you know, while Solo and Leia take off. They go to another planet, the Castle in the Sky planet. You know what I'm talking about, with Lando.
Oh yes,
You know,
Lando Calhoun.
yeah. So
Yes.
they go there.
Han's kind of best buddy, but they kind of aren't.
Do you remember how they
they're,
met?
They're
though?
off and on. I don't remember how they met. No. Wasn't it just I know he won.
I think it was during a card game.
Yes, I know he won. I know Han won the Millennium Falcon in a card game, I believe, from
Lando. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But so he's still holding grudges about that.
Of course,
obviously.
when you that's a great ship.
It is, but
It's the fastest
I
ship.
don't think I'm going to give you up
galaxy.
to Vader just for it. I mean,
No, definitely not. Nope. So it has that start on there. Then it pretty much ends with a lightsaber fight between Luke and Darth.
Well, prior to that, though, we can't leave this out. During how I just mentioned, Lando gives up Han to Vader to say, "Don't destroy my city," which Vader, like he's going to keep his promise there. The thing that happens to Han, and we get introduced.
I was about to touch on
We get
that.
introduced to a new character, a very popular character who wasn't in the movies until it came to the prequels after, in Boba Fett, because Han gets covered up in the not all I can think of is
Carbon.
carbon. I was about to say kryptonite.
Kryptonite. Kryptonite. Superman comes in, smashes him,
Exactly.
and dies.
But
Got
then
it.
you get introduced to Boba Fett, the bounty hunter, bringing him back to
We actually
Jabba.
got introduced to a lot of bounty hunters. And on a side note, they actually made a great series about bounty hunters, like in book series. Like as I have up here, we have books up here. Tons of Star Wars books out there for side storylines.
Exactly. I mean,
Great.
that's why I say though, Boba Fett. You see a lot of people who are big fans of Boba Fett,
Yep.
and if you really look in episode 5 and 6, he's not a huge character in that. He only has little small scenes, but he became such a huge and popular character, and then they give you more of a backstory when we go later on into the prequels.
Right. Yep.
So,
Yep.
so that
exactly.
happens, but then we have the most epic part towards the end of the movie.
Is this your favorite part of the movie?
I would say so,
Yeah?
because to me, it kind of, when you find out, obviously, that Darth Vader is Luke's father, and he has that big emotional cry, we'll say. But prior to that, he slices off Luke's hand. Luke gets the robotic hand. But what's iconic about that, when we later on go into the prequels, his father, Anakin, Darth Vader, also gets his hand cut off.
Yep.
So it's kind of like,
And
like,
legs cut off,
like
and torso
father,
cut off.
like father, like son.
Yeah.
Well, no. What happens is, I'll get into it.
We'll get that later.
We'll get into it when we
Let's
get to
keep-
that.
Let's keep
but,
focus on.
but that is my
one
favorite.
movie.
That is one of my favorites. You have all this action and sci-fi in the movies, and then you get this very emotional scene with Luke never knowing who his parents are, and come to find out your biological father is this guy trying to kill you, and who is your ultimate enemy and the ruler of the Empire, or semi-ruler.
You know, like the second movie though, the Empire Strikes Back was probably my favorite movie. Great storytelling, and from beginning to end. There's just a lot of epic scenes, epic lines. Luke, I am your father. You know, epic lines like that. Use all the time.
What makes that one line and everything great though too is who says it. James Earl Jones. He doesn't play the character of Vader on camera, but he voices Vader. And who better than the late great James Earl Jones with that just deep, good narrating voice. That's what did it.
Yeah, that was a great great casting altogether for the entire for the 4, 5, and 6. Great casting. So least favorite part of this movie?
I'd say the least favorite part, I mean, going to visit Yoda, I like the fact that they introduce Yoda and everything. But my problem is, with me, Yoda is that really iconic character, and you don't get enough of him in in the episodes, really.
Right, of course.
You do in the prequels, but you just don't get enough of who I consider the mascot of Star Wars, is Yoda, to me.
You consider Yoda a mascot?
Well, I mean, he's the...
Do you think R2-D2 would be more of a mascot?
What I'm trying to get at is he's the, me being the sports guy I am, when you have certain athletes who are the heart and soul of a team, like my Red Sox, it's David Ortiz. You got Kobe Bryant in basketball for the Lakers, or LeBron James, stuff like that. So what I'm saying is Yoda is that guy. We both watched Power Rangers when we were a kid.
Of course.
Tommy, the Green Ranger, White Ranger, he's that guy. He's the...
For you, he's the mascot?
Yeah, he's not the mascot, but that one guy that you, when you think of a movie or a TV show or a sport, you think of that one person. So,
All right.
When I think of Star Wars, I think of Yoda, and I want to see more of him, and you don't really get that. So
that's your least favorite part, that you didn't see Yoda.
yeah, it was just I thought they could have done a better job.
Okay. Well, my favorite part was actually the Yoda part. I love movies and TV shows that have training sessions in it.
Mm-hmm.
And just a whole training session with Luke and Yoda. That was just awesome how
So
they
it
did
was
that.
your Goku.
Exactly.
And,
King Kai moment.
well, not even King Kai, Master Roshi.
Oh, and
In the
Dragon
be-
Ball.
in
series,
the
yep.
beginning, kinda?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Like that reference.
yeah, that was my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah.
I loved the train session was just amazing. You know, one-handed try to lift up a ship from the swamp.
So true.
That's pretty epic, especially back in the '80s when technology wasn't as good as we have now. Very well done.
Yeah.
Least favorite part, again, man, there's nothing about the movie I don't like.
I think we'll get to it when we get to the prequels.
Oh, that's where we're gonna have a lot of dislikes. I think. Yep.
Well, you might. I enjoyed the prequels.
I don't know how. I don't know how.
I know I'm one of the few. Not many people cared for those. Yet they still made billions.
All right. So, any last points you want to bring up about Empire Strikes Back?
No, I like number 6. Out of those 3, 6 was my best.
All right. All right. Well, then let's get to it. Talk about Episode 6. Came out in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
The year the
Which-
Great One was born.
Which we have to mention if we're going to talk this episode of Star Wars is the name change, though. Do you know what I'm talking about with the name change?
Why don't you fill us in?
It wasn't ever supposed to be called Return of the Jedi. It was supposed to be Revenge of the Jedi.
Okay. Yep.
And
I know
I mean,
that.
if you can get some of that merchandise today that says still Revenge of the Jedi, you're going to make some big bucks.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've been told and have learned is that the studio thought it was too dark for the movie.
This movie, I'm glad you brought that up. It's a great point. This movie had, in the first original screenwrite, had a lot of dark moments
Mm-hmm.
in it.
But when you're talking Return of the Jedi compared to Revenge of the Jedi, Jedis don't get revenge. That's the thing that they said. The idea of the Jedi isn't to get revenge and kill. So why would you want to call it the Revenge of the Jedi when if you're going to say revenge, you want Revenge of the Sith or something like
course,
that.
yep.
You don't want Revenge of a Jedi. You want, and it's portraying the return of the extinct Jedi, basically. So, but with this movie, I thought opens up amazing. It was an amazing entrance to the movie
Okay.
where you have Leia dressed up as Boba Fett trying to rescue Han's carboned body from Jabba, the epic Jabba the Hutt,
Yep.
and she gets captured. And this is where a lot of guy fans of Star Wars love, because you get that iconic Leia bathing suit that every guy apparently goes gaga for.
Do you know what it's originally called, right? It was the slave Leia suit,
Yeah.
which I hate that term. I don't like that term. I don't use that term.
But what's great is, for me, one of my favorite parts is what happens after when they get Han back, but he's still getting over being carbonized. And they go out into the desert to feed them to that worm, that thing that lives in the desert, is Luke coming back. And there you go. The return of the Jedi happens. And he's using his little Jedi mind powers and has the saber, and he just looks like a
Stop you for a
fully trained
second.
Jedi.
How many months do you think it's between the 5th movie and the 6th movie?
That's hard to say. I mean, you'd want to think it obviously had to been a lot, because when he comes back and he portrays himself, he just seems like he's been away for quite a while.
And this is where some of the storytelling gets a little floppy. Between this one and then the episode 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah,
I would assume maybe 3 months, maybe
somewhere around there.
3-4 months. I would assume he's been training for less than a year now. You know, so and he's like looks like an expert Jedi now. You know, it's like what's going on here? Because I mean, I don't think he went back for any more training.
No, because he just
Last time he went back to Yoda, Yoda passed away
he goes
on his visit.
after he rescues everybody from Jabba. He goes back, Yoda dies.
Yeah.
But getting back to the whole Boba Fett thing, like I said, come this one, obviously, the poor Boba Fett dies. Upsets a lot of people. Favorite character of them, not for me. But I love the fight, too, with Leia and Jabba, strangling him and everything like that.
Yeah.
Props to her for being able to take out
Heck
the
yeah.
ruler of Tatooine. But
Right.
he saves everybody, and we get introduced to Lando again, the good side of Lando, helping out everybody. This is where, to me, they do this whole 360 change in Lando, because you really only see him in Episode 5 as this ticked off guy wanting to get revenge.
I don't think he was angry in the movie at all.
No?
No. I think Lando was fine. I think he made the decision to turn in Solo to protect his people.
This is true.
I think it was more of that of a conscious decision of protecting his people rather than, you took my ship in a guard game, I'm going to turn you in. I think it had nothing to do with it.
Because he does almost die
'Cause, I mean,
rescuing.
if you think about it, at the end of the 5th movie, he did grab guns and he did protect Leia at the end of that movie too.
Yeah.
So I think he was never evil at all.
But yeah, so getting back to Episode 6,
Yep.
Luke saves everybody, goes back to see Yoda right before he passes away. Then we get that whole, who was it, gave the Sith Lord, maybe it was Darth. I know they were rebuilding at the end of Episode 5, the Death Star again.
Yep.
So the Death Star's halfway built by now, and Luke knows they have to go and finish this. And that's where it gets, to me, really good in this movie. Because, excuse me, you get Luke basically surrendering himself to Darth
Yeah.
to get face to face with the Sith Lord, and
Of course.
it's very emotional, but it's very epic how it all ends. Sith Lord trying to change Luke to the dark side. He already did it with one Skywalker. Vader, we already know, most fans out there know, Vader changed his heart. He's seeing his son dying and in pain, and he kills the Sith Lord. To
Wow,
me,
you
that
jumped
was...
way to the front of the movie, huh? Right at the end of the movie.
We are almost at the end of the movie, really.
We're talking about the whole like Ewok scenes too.
Oh yeah, but instead of trying to go back and forth, I'm trying to...
Right. You want to sum it up, which is fine.
Yeah.
I want to bring up the Ewoks for a reason. Is that they weren't supposed to go to the planet of the Ewoks originally. The original script, they're supposed to go to the Wookiee planet.
Oh,
They're
really?
supposed to be Wookiees instead.
Well, they do that in the prequels, so...
But they thought that may have been too dark, because Wookiees are pretty awesome battlers. They're like the Klingons of Star Wars. So they wanted to make these really like Ewoks, make it more kid friendly and fluffy power stuff.
And who doesn't love the Ewoks, though?
Me,
You hate the Ewoks?
I don't like the Ewoks.
I think the Ewoks were hilarious.
Oh, I thought they were annoying.
They were so funny. Like the little one that rides on the hover bike,
Yeah,
and he can't hold on. He's like, wow!
I thought they were annoying. I would like to see the other version of the Wookiee planet instead, but for what the movie was, it was worth it. They made the right decision to put Ewoks in instead.
Yeah. And I think we get introduced to the new Stormtrooper too. I think that's the guy with the big black helmet. Usually you get the Stormtroopers are in the white, full-on white. And there's some, I think, who work in the force field building that has the force field around the Death Star that they go to try to blow up. They're just these guys in black suits, and they got like giant helmets that kind of look...
Third in the 6th movie?
I think so. I think it might be in the 5th one too. But they look like...
remember
They got
this.
like Vader helmets, I thought.
Really?
Yeah. I thought we had different Stormtroopers, I want to say.
Huh, I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Because I
Are you sure that wasn't in Spaceballs?
No, I know it's in Spaceballs too. But for some reason, I thought we had two different types of Stormtroopers.
Okay.
But,
Any more recaps on episode 6?
well,
You have a moment you want to say?
you had to interrupt me when I was trying to get to my favorite part.
All right.
But that, to me, towards the end, where Vader turns good, is very heartwarming, I guess, is the only thing I can think of. It's one of those where I didn't see it coming. I didn't think he'd be the one to kill the Sith Lord and obviously get killed in the
Really?
in the process.
I mean, it wasn't the prophecy.
Not everybody remembers
He was
everything.
chosen to turn the tides.
No, a Skywalker was chosen. Doesn't
He is a
mention
Skywalker.
Yeah, but it doesn't mention. Yeah, he turns evil though. It also mentions that the Skywalker won't join the dark side, and Luke never joined the dark side. So it was a good way to kind of end it. He reveals his burnt face at the end to Luke
Right.
and everything. And what I really like at the end is when they made the remake of this last episode in 2004 to like DVD and everything. They actually put Hayden Christensen, who plays Anakin Skywalker.
Like that?
Well, what I'm getting at is, it's kind of neat to see that you have two different movies basically. So it's a
Yep.
neat little addition in the other one where if you're watching all of them like in a row, if you're gonna pump in a lot of caffeine in you and watch all 6 right in a row,
Oh, that'd be a long day, wouldn't it?
and you see Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, and then you see him in this one too, kind of
Yep.
his spirit. It was kind of, I think, a little neat touch. So, plus the very funny part I say in this movie was Han getting jealous that Leia can now be with Luke, and she's like, "He's my brother." Oh, okay, never mind.
Right?
That was really funny, I thought. So,
Yeah, so overall, though, I mean, it's a decent movie. It's a good wrap-up
it is.
of that one, saga. Because, I mean, if you look at all 4, 5, and 6, it's pretty much about the rise and fall of a Jedi, I guess, and Vader was the rise and fall of the Jedi, I guess, this movie, you
Yeah,
know?
because he really did. He was a Jedi, and then he turns to the dark side.
Yeah.
And then redeems himself at the end for all of his wrongdoings.
Yep. Yeah, so I don't really have anything else to touch up on this movie at all right now. If I think of something, I'll bring it up later on the show. But I think it's time to jump in our time train and go to 1999 with episode 1, Phantom Menace.
And with these is, I really think they did these because you're going to get people too who have questions. You're always going to have questions at the end of a movie, like, what about this? What about this? So there's a reason to make a prequel, but you're also getting where it's a new generation now. We want to introduce maybe this next generation to Star Wars.
I think they could have done it better than they did, though.
They could have. Episode 1, Phantom Menace, to me really wasn't the greatest. I didn't really understand much of it. Adding Liam Neeson to the cast was a good pickup, I would say. But what makes it start off good is with the young kid Anakin Skywalker, I think.
Right.
Because you're getting the backstory of Darth Vader, one of the biggest characters in Star Wars, and now you're getting his backstory. This is the beginning.
I wrote up a quick analysis of this movie. I'm going to read it to you.
Love to hear
I'm
it.
going to quote this from here.
Love to hear it.
This was an epic fail to tell the backstory of Anakin Skywalker as a child. The movie tells how the child was picked up from his home and moved to help fight against the Empire. That was pretty much the genesis of the movie itself. That's what it was. And they added so much more into it that they probably didn't need to add.
With like what, the race and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Which I can see where people didn't like that, but
It was still
you
cool.
you cannot say it was a bad judgment, because look at what they did with that. Just that one scene,
Yeah.
how much merchandise they made out of it. There were
Merchandise,
toys,
video
video
games,
games,
yep.
everything.
Yep.
I mean, something that really doesn't do anything with Star Wars, I guess you could say. Whoop-de-doo, it's a race. And then it just went on. It's a different train, basically, a different track.
Yeah.
So,
Like, honestly, if it was like him, like, because Anakin was supposed to be like one of the greatest pilots ever, right? We should have seen it as a child, him being the greatest pilot ever. And, like, he crashed a lot in driving, didn't he?
oh, all the time.
Yeah. So he didn't really show that he was like wicked good at driving. So
I would have
didn't
loved to.
understand that part.
I would have loved to see. I don't think he gets a lightsaber as a little kid yet.
No.
No, I would have loved to see something like that, though.
Yeah.
Him maybe coming to Obi-Wan's rescue or something like that with a saber, just swiping
I would
somebody
have
with
liked
it.
to seen the Force actually shown strong in him instead of us being told, oh, the Force is strong with you.
Yep.
Well, show me that the Force is strong with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, yes, the Force is strong when he drives, because those things are pretty hard to drive. You're going 800 miles an hour, and he keeps it, from crashing, Yes, okay, but a little more would be great.
Yeah. My biggest thing, too, is I don't know if you can answer this question, but Padme, his eventual wife, is it played by Natalie Portman in all three of them? I know it isn't in 2 and 3.
Yeah.
That's what gets me. So you're saying how much older she is, yet she doesn't look any different when you get to 2 and 3, where he's grown up.
Well, the time between episode 1 and episode 2 is a lot. So she does look older between 1 and 2. Between 2 and 3, it's not that big of a
No,
time.
I understand that, but to me, she doesn't. I would think they'd be around almost the same age, but she to me seems like she's probably late teens, early 20s in the first one.
I think she's supposed to be 14 or 16.
Doesn't look it. She looked much older.
Yeah.
And Anakin looks like he's 8 years old.
Like I said, it's bad casting in this entire first 3.5 movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's bad casting. Because, if you want to keep it like that way, then episode 3, we can do it later on, but quickly touch up on it, Anakin looks older than Padme, So it's like, she should be older.
Mm-hmm.
Cast someone different. But any more touch-ups on episode 1 that you want to go over?
Not really. I mean, like I said, for me, it was hard to focus on this one.
Yeah.
I thought 2 and 3 had a better storyline.
2 was one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
It came out in 2002. Attack of the Clones. What do you got for me?
Oh, God, I gotta go over my notes here real quick. Well, you obviously, what we just ended with the...
I'm sorry. We forgot the most important character in Phantom Menace. They brought someone to the table that we did not expect that we need to touch up on.
Samuel L. Jackson character?
No. Jar Jar Binks.
No, he gets introduced in the second one.
No, the first one.
No, the second one is where Obi...
Didn't you get the first one?
No, it's the second one.
Or is it the second one?
It's the second one.
Clone Wars?
Yep. I have it right, I have it right
the
here.
first one.
No, because that's where now Obi-Wan is Anakin's the apprentice and everything. Anakin is Obi-Wan's apprentice.
Man, I haven't seen these in a long
Yep.
time. So the
Believe
second
me,
one, you sure?
That's why. Yes, I am. That's
All
why
right.
I said you got the early ones,
Okay.
but the later
Yeah,
ones I paid more attention
all right,
to.
all right.
No, so why don't I go ahead?
All right, you tell me.
There we go.
You tell me.
I'll host you.
You host me for once. All right.
So you got where we ended. You got Padme and Anakin eventually falling in love. But what happened was there was a bounty hunter in the beginning that they're chasing, who was sent to go kill Padme.
Mm-hmm.
And they send Obi-Wan on a mission, the Jedis do, to go find this bounty hunter who they think is on this ocean planet. And when he gets there, he meets Jar Jar Binks. Not Jar Jar Binks. No, are we talking?
To Clone Wars right now.
Yeah.
Clone Wars.
Yeah, I'm thinking Boba Fett's father, Jango. And then you said Jar Jar. That's where I got mixed up. Jar Jar, I don't think he's in number 1. I didn't think he was.
I don't think we watch it.
We'll get to him in a little bit. But he meets Jango Fett, who is on this ocean planet, and he discovers Jango is cloning himself like a million times.
Yes, I remember that.
And he's cloning himself for the Republic, who we know the Emperor of the Republic as just this regular guy. We don't know who he is quite yet.
Well, yeah, we don't know yet.
We kind of have an idea if you haven't watched the 4, 5, and 6. And he's constantly cloning himself, but he finds out that Jar Jar is the bounty hunter. Not Jar Jar, Jango. They all have the J's.
All J's.
And he retreats, and Obi-Wan goes after him. This is where you find Count Dooku, who is the new Sith apprentice.
Count Dooku.
And he's got his droids going up against the Republic, and you find out the reason the Republic is cloning all these clones is they're going to build an army.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know it's for evil. But eventually we'll get there. So you have the whole heated out battle between the droids and the clones. That's where we get Attack of the Clones, obviously.
Yep, of course.
And unfortunately, Jango gets beheaded because he's in the fight, which we find out the history of Boba Fett in that. That's what gets me. I had to see Boba Fett as a kid, and you get that. You see Boba Fett,
Yep.
and sees his dad die. He picks up the helmet, becomes the bounty hunter, which is pretty iconic. He's just this nice little kid, I guess. Sees his dad die and becomes evil. What do we got after that? The whole, at the end of the fight, the clones and the droids, Dooku takes off, and that's where Anakin and Obi-Wan go after him.
Okay.
And this is where I was saying, like father, like son, with Luke getting his hand cut off in Episode 5.
Yep.
Count Dooku slices off Anakin's hand, and he gets a robotic hand. I know you said he gets a robotic this, and
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
but prior to that, he's just like Luke. And it's funny, it's like the same hand, too. It's the right hand.
No, it's weird.
So you get Yoda, he saves the day, obviously, drives off Dooku, and Padme and Anakin get married
course, yep.
secretly, because you can't have him, a Jedi, marry this senator.
Why would you do that?
Well, you can't. I don't know. I don't live in the space.
All right, so
That's my quick Cliff Notes.
that was good. That was good. It gives you a rough in. I mean, like I said, we're just flying through these because all our fans, I hope, have already seen these. We're just gonna bring these up.
Yeah, they're
quickly.
more interested in. They're probably saying to us right now, get to the most important part.
Exactly. But we had to
We
do
got
this
one more.
first because we are on episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Quick one for you. When did this movie come out?
Wasn't it, I think 2004.
2005.
2005.
Very close.
Close. This is my favorite of the three.
Really?
Yes, because I feel like it answers a lot of questions.
I actually watched one today and I was like, wow, this movie is crap.
Well, to me, why I'm saying it answers a lot of questions is because it reveals, you get into the whole, him seeing his mother in pain, Anakin does. He has a vision, goes back to Tatooine, and
That
finds
was episode 2.
where, I didn't think so. I thought it was
That was episode 2.
where he kills everybody, the people who killed his mother.
The Sand People, yeah. That was episode 2.
Okay, well, let me go back then to
I was
episode
going to
2.
actually touch up on that mic here.
Okay, I was going to say, that to me is where he becomes Darth Vader, where he goes to the dark
Well,
side.
for me, that was one of the biggest pushes of him going to the dark side. That was like the big push, you know, in episode 2, seeing his mom die. That was the biggest push for me. Yep. But continue.
So I mean, that to me, like you said, was where he becomes the dark Sith that we know. And then just everything leading up into this movie, where you then find out the Emperor is the Sith Lord,
Yep.
and Anakin then killing Samuel L. Jackson's character. I can't remember his name, but he kills him. A Jedi who doesn't kill unless he has to, and he kills basically a Jedi Master.
Technically, he didn't. Technically, Anakin just cut off his arm, and the Emperor shocked him out the window.
This is true, but
He really didn't kill him.
without Anakin's help. But I guess the biggest thing you can say is him killing the Jedi kids, the apprentices.
Yes.
That was
The younglings.
that was the biggest thing.
Yep.
That's where Padme, I think, really understands now. There's no going back.
No.
I gotta get away from this guy. And with her trying to leave him, he just goes nutso.
Well, I mean, like, at that point in time, she doesn't really believe it yet, so she went to go see him on that planet,
Volcano planet.
which brings up my favorite lightsaber fight scene between him and Obi-Wan. That was awesome.
Oh, it was an amazing fight scene. And the whole thing where Anakin, don't jump, I have the high ground thing.
Yep.
I'm thinking to myself, it's the dumbest thing you can do. He's not going to do it. And he does.
Yeah, of course he does it. Yep.
It's just,
And then the big old speech. You know, you're my brother. I loved you. Blah blah blah. Walks away. Anakin gets burnt up. The Emperor comes, finds him, saves him, puts him on the ship, puts him in the Darth Vader mask, and then it goes over to Padme. She's having birth to the kids. Then she dies of heartbreak.
yeah. Like I said, it was a quick Cliff Notes that we're explaining here, but
Yeah,
to me,
exactly, yep,
to me, you
yep.
have to agree, in this movie, it sets up for 4, 5, and 6. It's really, to me, it's showing everything you want to know. How did it happen?
It does.
How did this happen? And if we have to go on to that being one of your favorite lightsaber scenes, the fight there,
Yeah.
I have to say mine in that was Yoda versus the Sith Lord inside
Okay.
the senators where all they sit and everything, like their giant
That was a cool
auditorium.
fight scene too, yeah.
Just
Yeah.
jumping from auditorium seat to auditorium seat and everything like that. That was an awesome fight. Yoda taking off his cape, like he's got a kind of like a piccolo.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue on the show. If we talk at the end, we're gonna talk about all of our favorite
There we
parts
go.
of this. So, because right now, that was it for episode 1 through 6. A quick clip note on all those movies, just keep people up to date. Is now the top 5.
Yep.
You actually picked up the top 5 this week,
I picked out this whole episode. This was mine.
and I gotta admit, it was a really hard one.
It made you think.
It was a real hard one because I mean, there's so many. Because it's the top 5 supporting characters in the Star Wars universe. Not just talking about one movie, we're talking about 6 movies, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I mean, to me, you have your main. What got me to think of this category is you have your main characters that you're always going to know, but there's a lot of those supporting characters that did just as good of a job as the main characters. So,
Yep.
but with that being said, let me give you my top 5 here.
Sure.
My number 5, we went over this prior to the show today, but I had to put them in there just because they're iconic, and I thought they did a great job, and that is the Ewoks. I'm
Okay.
sorry. They probably won't make our combined top 5 or something, but they were pretty funny to me. My number 4 is Lando. Very small role in the beginning, but towards the end when they're fighting the Death Star for the second time,
Yep.
him piloting
The third.
Episode 6.
He.
Yep,
we did,
when he's
yeah.
piloting the Millennium Falcon,
Yep.
he did a great job. He became a very beloved character. Number 4, I have Jabba the Hutt. He is in.
3.
Yep, sorry, my 3. Yep, my number 3 is Jabba the Hutt.
All right.
He's in episodes 4, 5, and 6. He has small roles in each of them, but he plays a big character. Yes, you can't understand a word he's saying.
Plays a big character.
Yes,
Big pun, huh?
big pun right there. But he is one of those iconic characters. Plus, he's in, like I said, every guy's favorite scene
Yep.
with Leia. My number 2 is my second all-time favorite character, and that's Chewie, Chewbacca.
Okay.
Yes, all he has to do is go, but yeah, that's my Chewie. It's horrible.
That's fantastic. I enjoyed it.
But he's just, I guarantee at Comic-Cons back in the 70s and 80s, you saw a lot of Chewbaccas.
Yeah.
He's one of
Yeah,
he's a very iconic character for being somebody who can't talk. So, but my number 1 is my all-time favorite, which is R2-D2. He may have had small parts, but he's in every scene in every movie. And he is the one character that all you have to do is show something, and everybody may not be a Star Wars fan, but they know an R2-D2. R2-D2, we could say today, was a main character, I think, just because
He's supporting though. Yeah.
he is supporting.
He is supporting.
But I
character.
think he could hold his own.
But he definitely is. On the list.
How many times did R2-D2 save other people, though, too?
I know, right?
So, I mean, that's my top 5. Love it or hate it.
All right, so my top 5 coming up. Number 5 is Wedge Antlers.
Okay.
Remember Wedge was
Nope.
in New Hope? He was what helped Luke destroy the Death Star. He was the X-wing pilot,
Okay.
the commander of the X-wing pilot team. That's who he was. He huge part in that movie. He really supported the whole movie, I think. You know, that one scene. Number 4, it was on your list, Jabba the Hutt.
Yep.
So you touched everything on there. Don't need to go any further than that. Number 3, General Veers. You remember what General Veers was?
It was the one that Vader strangles?
No. But him and Vader did a lot on Planet Hoth.
Okay.
Beginning when Veers actually kind of commanded Vader, and Vader actually listened. He's like, all right, it's all clear down here. It's all okay to land. And he helped move the storyline up forward by kind of telling Vader what to do, but not really telling him what to do. It's interesting how he did that. It was a good support.
Yeah, somebody who's weaker than Vader is actually telling him what to do when Vader's listening.
Yeah, exactly, yep. Number 2 is on your list, Lando. And number 1, same as your number 1,
R2-D2.
R2-D2.
Well,
That's right.
I think we know who our number 1's going to be.
Well, here's the thing. I think we should do. Let's save our combined combination, and we will post it on Facebook. That way, our fans can go over the sporting list, and they can tell us their top 5, and we'll all meet on Facebook land,
There we go.
and we'll do it all at once. How's that sound to you?
That sounds perfectly fine with me.
All right. So
Are you telling me you're using your Jedi mind tricks on me to make me change my mind here?
I think I am.
I don't know. I think these aren't the droids you're looking for.
So, we're more than halfway through the show, and we are down to the final portion, the final segment of the show, and that is everything that you're going to need to know about Force Awakens before you see it in 2 days.
Let's see. Today we filmed today on a Monday, and it comes out on a Thursday to select theaters.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a couple of days, 2-3 days.
The show airs on Wednesday, tomorrow.
Yeah, something
So
like
it'll be
that.
like that. When you
December,
when you watch
all the
episode.
fans need to know is December 18th.
All right. So the running time of this movie is 2 hours and 16 minutes. I actually expected a longer movie than this.
Really?
I did. I almost expected almost a Lord of the Rings, 3 hour range.
Well, I don't even think any of the original ones went to 3 hours.
No, nope. This is at the same amount of length of Revenge of the Sith.
It could be maybe the other ones might pick up
Yeah.
like 8 and 9. So
I expected a longer movie, but it takes place 30 years after
30 years after.
Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
That's where it takes place. There's really not a lot of information about this movie floating around. No one is really saying anything much about it.
The only thing I can clear up is you still have that fight, like right in the originals, you had the Rebels versus the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still kind of going on, but they're not called the Rebels and the Empire anymore.
Exactly.
You have the Rebels now, which are called...
The Resistance.
No, the Resistance is the old
Rebel
Empire.
Alliance is Resistance.
No, that's the
and
Empire.
The Empire is the First Order.
Was it?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, my bad. You are right. But yeah, so that's that.
I did my homework too, brother.
There you go. I'm trying to keep you up on your toes here.
I got it.
Make sure you at least know what you're
covered.
talking about.
I got you covered.
Well, I'm trying to go through my notes here real quick. So, but yeah, so that's really the only thing. And obviously, you know who the characters' names are. You know the original cast is coming back
Right.
for the movie. The only thing you can really go on is watching every one of these trailers and try to find your Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Figure out what you might think will happen. And that's where I did a lot of my research.
That's all you can assume is what happened. I mean, you can assume that at the Battle of Endor, between that and then now, is when the factions, I guess you want to call them, changed their names and rebuilt their both sides. You know.
I mean, I do know the character name by Finn, which we see in the trailers all the time. He is...
Well, we'll talk about character development after, but I want to get your thoughts on what you think the whole movie is going to be about.
Okay.
I know watching the trailer, you saw a big desert scene. So I mean, like, what's the first thing you thought when you saw a desert planet?
I'm thinking it's... I want to say it's where Attack of the Clones, when they're fighting out in the desert, that might be a scene, and one of the ships went down there, because there are scenes in Attack of the Clones where ships go down.
Right. I mean, yeah.
I do know it's not Tatooine, which everyone
Definitely
might...
not Tatooine.
Because
When the first trailer came out a couple months ago, you know, everyone said Tatooine, you know, but it's not. Actually got the planet name for you. It's called Jakku.
yeah, and
Jakku.
that's where the new female role Rey is
Right.
from. She's a scavenger there.
Yeah.
She has her new little droid, which I hate.
Yeah.
This little 2 round balls rolling around.
It's droids. You know, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, I guess we can only tell what the plot's gonna be about by actually discussing characters in the movie and try and post this together. I mean, I did a pretty good, you know, evaluation of what the movie should be about. So, what do you think the movie's about? I mean, like, what do you know about the characters?
So, like I was saying, you have Finn, the new male character.
Yep.
Starts off, we see him as a stormtrooper. And eventually this is actually what happens. I've read this that I know is going to happen. He gets put into a dangerous scene as a stormtrooper. And because of what happens with them not caring about the stormtroopers, he leaves the dark side and finds Han and Rey and all them, and basically joins their side, joins their resistance.
Here's a little
What?
backstory for you on that, though.
Okay.
Okay, Finn was actually trained by the dark side of the villain, the one. He was in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
He was taught by them that Skywalker was the real villain.
See, that I did not know.
He was taught that Skywalker was the real villain.
Mm-hmm.
And then throughout the movie, he meets Han, and then that's when his mind changed.
Yes.
So I think that's why you see him in the stormtrooper outfit at the beginning of the movie.
Which later on, I'll tell you what I think about Finn later, but
All right.
I really think it's kind of like starting up in the beginning of A New Hope. You do have the two sides fighting, obviously. I think
course.
the backstory still, the storyline's going to be kind of the same, but I do think they're probably looking for Luke. Obviously, Han and Chewie and all them.
But wasn't the story that Luke just has his own Jedi school?
I think that's how it was supposed to go, but you in the trailers you see him like in this dark area kind of thing. It doesn't ever show him like bright and happy training Jedis, because there's one scene with Luke and he's like touching R2 and he's in like this volcano land kind of place, like he's running from something. So I think they're probably going to try to look for him to try to help destroy this new Sith Lord. And you're going to get, like I said, the same kind of storyline as in A New Hope. We got to beat you, you got to beat us. I don't think it's going to be this, oh my God, big storyline. I think it's going to evolve around the same thing.
Stuff, yeah.
I mean, my biggest thing is that I want to get to, but I don't know if you want to discuss some more stuff. So why don't you tell me what you think?
Well, I think it should continue with the character stuff. So we have Finn. We introduce Finn. The next character would be Rey,
Yep.
which is the female
Yep.
cast, the lead. Well, I know about her that she was dished on the planet Jakku by her family. And the theory is that her family knew the Skywalkers or Solo,
Okay.
one of the two. And that's how she gets involved
Because I do know
with the fight.
I do know a lot of people want to say she is Luke's daughter.
It could be, or it could be Solo's daughter. We don't know yet. So
Now-
it's still roughly out there.
Okay. Now I really want to get to, because it's eating me away here. Because
Please, yeah.
I watched this so much prior to us talking about this today, and you get in a lot of scenes in the trailer, you have Luke talking. You don't see him, but he's talking about, my father had the Force. I have the Force. My sister has the Force. You have the Force. But they never show who he's talking to, which obviously you want to say it's his descendant, his son or daughter or whatever, his child. Then you have Leia talking about the same thing. You need to learn how to harness the Force.
Right.
But you never see who they're talking to. That, to me, you have all this stuff we want to say this movie's about. And they fight them, we fight them. But I think the biggest thing in this movie is you're going to find out who they're talking to. And it's Luke's child, I want to say.
I think.
Wait,
All right.
wait for it. I think it's Finn, is Luke's son. Yes, he's African American. We can have a bi-relationship, bilingual or whatever, biracial relationship things. What I'm getting at is the reason I say this is because he has been given Luke's lightsaber, the blue lightsaber, which was originally given to Luke, which was Anakin's. So to me, if you're continuing this thing where Anakin gets his lightsaber, it is then passed down to Luke. And now it is even written down in the script and everything that is Luke's lightsaber given to Finn. It kind of to me makes me want to say Finn is Luke's son somehow.
Okay.
So that to me is going to be, if that happens, that's going to be the biggest, oh my God, drop in the theater.
There's a couple of theories for you. One, it could be, since we already know the relationship is there, Leia and Solo's child. We don't know that theory's there. But let's go with your theory with Finn being the Jedi. What if it was Lando and Leia's kid.
I don't think so. But it could. But do you understand what I'm getting at?
I understand.
With this
I
trailer,
understand.
why would you never show who they're talking to, describing that they have the Force, and they're describing this Force in the family? Obviously, they're describing must be Leia or Luke's kid,
Right.
but you don't ever see them.
The plot line is going to be that. We're going to find out that. The next piece that I found is going to really explain more of the storyline. It's introducing the villain.
Yep.
This is where I was like, okay, they're going this way. The new villain is called Ren. It's a surname of the Knight of Ren.
Mm-hmm.
Much like, Darth is a surname for the Sith Lords. So now I think this character is going to bring back a third faction in the universe. So we could possibly see a three-way fight in this movie somewhere down the road between, the Rebel Alliance, and the Sith Lord, and then this new faction group coming to power.
We could. I don't see it happening. This is why I love our show, the argument here. Because in the trailer, he speaks where he found Darth's mask all fossilized and decrepit. And he literally says in the trailer to the mask, I will finish what you started. That makes me think you won't have like 3 factions.
So you don't think this new faction is going to come to any power at all?
No, I think, I want to say, I'm really leaning towards before the trailers came out and everything, you had the idea that in, what was it, Return of the Jedi, when one of those ships, one of the...
Very fight scene,
yeah.
at the very end, one of the battle cruisers took off,
and you thought
that
this...
Sith Lord was in
exactly.
that ship.
That to me is a really bright idea, because we do know George Lucas has even stated that these films that he wrote that were bought by Disney, 7, 8, and 9, he wrote way back then.
Yep.
So that it'd be a continuation. So that is a really big possibility.
But the first movie, though, I mean, the 3 main characters that we all need to look out for is Ren, Rey, and Finn. They're going to be the 3 big ones in the movie that's going to carry the movie along. Like I said, we don't know what the movie's going to be about. We can only assume what's going to be about. It's probably roughly, like you said, somewhere around the New Hope area kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I do, because I see, you see it happen a lot in other movies too. Biggest one I can think of is The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, for instance.
Okay.
The first movies, what happened? We introduced the characters, you learn their backstories,
Character
and there was a
development.
lot of walking. And that's what happened in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Is a lot of character development. You learn the backstory, and then you get to those big fight scenes.
course.
And I see that happening in The Force Awakens. Because you want to set up for that, being the fact this is a new trilogy, you want that third one to be the most epic that you're going to remember.
Right.
In the first one, yeah, you're excited, but it's like, okay.
Yeah. So we're going to find out a lot of... honestly, I don't think this movie you should be watching. You should wait till episode 8 comes out. That's when it's going to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this movie's going to be great, but I'm still a little hesitant because of the last 3 movies that we saw. So I'm not sure I want to waste my money.
Well, that's why I was saying how Lucas already wrote these before the prequels came out. Whereas the prequels he didn't have in mind after Return of the Jedi happened. It's just, okay, 10, 15 years later, we want to introduce us to new fans, and there were fans out there and bloggers and everything that wanted a backstory. And at the time, getting to the new millennium, because this came out in 99,
Yes.
you started seeing a lot of movies starting to make prequels of other movies.
Of course.
So that was the new trend. So I don't really think we're going to get the same story like how people didn't like the prequels. I think you're going to get that good written story that George Lucas did back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
With a little Disney.
Well, Disney. Now,
As long as Mickey Mouse doesn't make an appearance, we're good.
we need to talk about one character. Now, we brought him once. And I'm pretty positive it's not going to go. But I've watched a lot of videos, I've read a lot of articles on this theory.
Yep.
Now, keep in mind, this is just a fan theory from someone out in internet land. And it's all based, all 9 movies are based around one character.
Mm-hmm.
That's Jar Jar Binks.
I've
Do you know this theory? No? Okay,
No.
here's the theory in a summarized version, okay?
okay.
Jar Jar is actually a double agent and is the strongest Sith Lord ever. Even the Emperor was under his command.
Are you serious?
That's the fan theory. This video I watched, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, this actually kind of makes sense.
Jar Jar's dead though. He died.
But keep in mind, Obi-Wan
think-
died too.
No, maybe
I
that
don't
was
think Jar Jar died.
maybe that was
I think he's still
maybe that
alive.
was a spoof kind of thing that I,
think he's
saw,
still- I
like
think
on a
he's
Robot
still
Chicken or something
alive.
like that. Yeah, that's probably
I
that.
think he's still alive.
From what I've read,
But you know what I'm talking about though?
I can't see it happening. Jar Jar's an idiot.
Think about this though. When we first got introduced to Yoda, he was an idiot.
Yoda was just
Turned out, he was one of the strongest Jedis ever.
from what I've read,
In
they're not portraying Jar Jar in this, is what Disney and Lucasfilms have
I'm
said.
glad they're not putting it in there, just in case. But this fan theory makes a lot of sense. Because with every Sith Lord, there's always an apprentice. This is crazy thought, right? I mean, think about the first time you saw Jar Jar jump into the lake in, I think it was, Clone Wars?
Something like that, yeah.
He was doing this perfect flip, high flip, like a Jedi would do. I mean, he's a klutz. How would he perform that kind of a jump? Right?
I just don't see it
And then,
happening.
I know. That's why it's a fan theory.
That's why I said
And he was always with the Emperor, always walking right behind him, like a master would with his.
that's why I said I think Finn is Luke's kid, because you even said this new Sith trained him before he goes to the good side and everything. Makes me think that is.
So you think Jar Jar trained him?
No, I don't think Jar Jar's in it. What I'm getting at is I'm saying that they know this was Luke's child, and they tried to turn him to the dark side, and that's what you're going to find out.
Yeah.
So that would have been his
replaying
that would have been
storyline.
his apprentice, because then in another scene you see Finn with the blue lightsaber and you see the new Sith, and the scene ends with them going and charging each other to do battle. So, but
So it's like a repeat storyline,
yeah,
you know? Because in episode 4, 5, 6, it was like with get Luke Skywalker turn evil, turn to the dark side, and I think it's going to be a Finn trying to get Finn to go back to the dark side. But Finn rises, becomes the greatest Jedi Knight.
could be. So,
It's not bad.
but we won't know.
It's not bad.
We won't know until we actually go and get our butts out there and go see it.
I think I want to see the whole Jar Jar thing. That theory is awesome.
It might happen. So
I think it's awesome.
we'll have to go see it someday.
Any final notes on this movie?
Just that I am really excited to see it, and it's going to make billions of dollars.
We hope it's not another bomb.
They're saying it's going to break every box record, box record out there.
You know, let me bring this point up too. You know, I actually may see this because of the director. Mr. J.J. Abrams is directing this movie. So I love his work anyways. He's also on the Star Trek universe as well.
They're talking.
I trust J.J. enough to actually go to the movie.
They're talking about that it's going to make billions the opening week. That's usually what you get the first month if you have a big movie.
The
So
movie's already made like $1 million plus with just pre-sales.
yeah. So,
You know, so
but
yeah.
I think we're running out of time though. Unfortunately, I'd love to talk about this
Already?
all night, but.
Well, when he closes out, big
So,
guy.
There you have it. We hope you enjoyed our Star Wars episode. Go out and see it. It comes out to theaters December 18th worldwide. So if you're a big fan like we are, try, if ticket sales haven't been sold out, try to get there or go another week. But remember, if you didn't catch our episode today, you can always revisit this episode and every other episode we have already filmed. I think we're almost at 20 now.
I think so.
At our Facebook page, just type in Legend of the Nerds, or go to YouTube and watch every one of our episodes, also at Legends of the Nerds.
So,
Watch us on public access, and talk to this one over here on Twitter. Why don't you tell everyone?
tweeting, you see me over here faking down. I'm live tweeting on the show every day. So hit us up on Krillin Man or I think you probably find us on Legend of the Nerds
Yep.
on Twitter as well. Hit us up with questions, and maybe we can answer them in the middle of our conversations here. It'd be kind of fun.
And don't forget, everybody out there in Nerdland, in just a couple weeks, we'll be having our very first ever Nerdy Awards. Please help us out by going to our Facebook page and vote on who you think should win Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Movie, even Most Anticipated Movie for next year, which is another Star Wars movie. But as always, thank you for watching us tonight, and remember, stay nerdy.